Right now, as you watch this, Google already knows what you searched this morning. It knows where you slept last night. It knows what you're worried about, what you're planning to buy, and what you're quietly afraid of. And it knew all of this before you ever realized you were giving it away. This is not a conspiracy theory. This is the business model, and it started with two college students who told their first investors something strange. We don't want your money to build a search engine. We want to organize all of human knowledge. What they actually built was something far more powerful and far more dangerous. In 1998, Larry Page and Sergey Brin were two Stanford PhD students working on a research project called Backrub. Their algorithm, later named PageRank, ranked websites not by keywords, but by how many other sites linked to them, treating the internet like an academic citation network. It worked better than anything else on the market. One early venture capitalist offered them $1 million to drop out of school and simply license the technology. They said no. Within a year, they had incorporated Google Inc., operating out of a friend's garage in Menlo Park with a check for $100,000 written before the company even legally existed. By 2000, Google quietly launched something that would change the internet forever. AdWords, a system letting advertisers bid for placement next to search results. It seemed like a minor feature. It was anything but. While every other tech company was burning through investor cash, chasing eyeballs, Google had found something nobody else had, a way to make money every single time someone searched for anything. Each click, each query, each tiny sliver of human curiosity, quietly monetized. By 2004, Google went public. The IPO was deliberately unconventional, structured to avoid Wall Street's usual games. The message was clear. Google didn't need permission to do things differently. It had already proven the model worked. But what happened next shocked even insiders. Gmail launched that same year, offering a full gigabyte of free storage when competitors offered a few megabytes. People called it reckless. It was actually a Trojan horse, because Gmail was never really about email. It was about getting users to live permanently inside Google's ecosystem. Then came Google Maps, Google Earth, YouTube acquired in 2006 for $1.65 billion, when most analysts thought the platform was a money pit destined to drown in copyright lawsuits. It wasn't a money pit. It was a pipeline straight into the attention of billions of people. Android followed in 2005, a mobile operating system Google quietly acquired years before smartphones became the center of modern life. While Apple built a premium walled garden, Google gave Android away for free to manufacturers around the world. Why give away something so valuable? Because Google didn't need to sell phones. It needed every phone on Earth funneling data back into its system. Today, Android powers over 70% of the world's smartphones. Free was never charity, it was infrastructure. In 2024 alone, Google's ad revenue crossed $237 billion. Not from selling phones, not from charging for search, just from knowing you better than you know yourself. Here is the detail almost no documentary tells you, and it's the one that reframes everything that came after. By the early 2010s, Google was no longer a search company. It was an attention company, an advertising company, a behavioral prediction company, operating one of the most sophisticated surveillance systems ever built, hidden behind the simplicity of a single white search bar. Google now processes over 8.5 billion searches every single day. That's roughly 99,000 searches every second, each one a tiny window into a human mind, indexed, stored, and analyzed. Someone inside already understood the danger. In 2013, the world learned exactly how deep that system went. Edward Snowden's leaked NSA documents revealed that government agencies had tapped directly into the data flowing between Google's servers, without the company's knowledge, according to Google's own statements. The revelation forced Google to encrypt its internal traffic and force the public to confront an uncomfortable question. If governments could intercept this much data, how much did Google itself already know? The answer was almost everything. Your searches, your location history, your emails, your YouTube watch patterns, your voice through Google Assistant, your face through Google Photos, a constantly updating map of your entire digital existence. Then came the moment that should have triggered global alarm. In 2018, internal reporting revealed Google had been building a secretive product for the Chinese market, codenamed Dragonfly. They didn't just build a product for China, they built a censored, surveilled version of truth and called it a search engine. Employees revolted, some resigned in protest. The project was eventually shelved, but the questions it raised never fully went away. How far would Google go to access new markets, and what would it sacrifice to get there? The scrutiny kept intensifying. In 2020, the United States Department of Justice filed a landmark antitrust lawsuit accusing Google of illegally maintaining a monopoly over internet search through exclusive deals worth billions of dollars, agreements that made Google the default search engine on phones and browsers most people never even thought to question. In 2024, a federal judge ruled against Google, determining the company had acted illegally to preserve its monopoly. The ruling sent shockwaves through Silicon Valley. For the first time in decades, breaking up a tech giant felt less like a hypothetical and more like an approaching reality. But by then, Google was no longer just search. It was Waymo's self-driving cars quietly mapping cities. It was DeepMind's artificial intelligence solving problems humans couldn't. It was cloud infrastructure running hospitals, banks, and governments. It was the invisible architecture beneath an enormous portion of the modern internet, and increasingly beneath the future of artificial intelligence itself. So what was Google really? Was it the company that organized human knowledge and made it accessible to billions, often for free? Or was it something far more unsettling, an entity that learned to predict, influence, and monetize human behavior on a scale no government or corporation had ever achieved before? Larry Page and Sergey Brin started with a garage and a research paper nobody wanted to fund. Today, there is barely a moment of your digital life that doesn't pass in some form through servers they built. Google didn't just change how we search, it changed what it means to be known. And by the time the world finally understood what Google had become, stopping it was no longer a question of permission. It was a question of whether it was even possible anymore.